The story of Turkish Airlines Flight 981, presented by Disaster Diaries. Hello everybody, welcome back to Disaster Diaries, which is the channel where we explore all kinds of disasters, financial and physical. Today we are going to talk about Turkish Airlines Flight 981, which you can see down in the picture didn't end well. Introduction. Turkish Airlines Flight 981 was a scheduled flight from Istanbul Yasikoy Airport to London Heathrow Airport. On 3rd March 1974, the McDonnell Douglas DC-10 operating the flight crashed into the Ermenonville forest outside Paris, killing all 349 people on board. It remains the deadliest single aircraft accident without survivors, the first fatal and deadliest crash involving the McDonnell Douglas DC-10, as well as the deadliest aviation accident to occur in France. The crash occurred when an incorrectly secured cargo door at the rear of the plane burst open and broke off, causing an explosive decompression that severed critical cables necessary to control the aircraft. Aircraft and crew. The aircraft was built in Long Beach, California, under the manufacturer's test registration N1337U and leased to Turkish Airlines as TCJAB on 10 December 1972. It was powered by three General Electric CF6-6D turbofan engines. Flight 981's captain was Nejat Berkoz, age 44, with 7,000 flying hours. First Officer Aurel Yulusman, age 38, had 5,600 hours of flying time, and Flight Engineer Erhan Özer, age 37, had 2,120 flying hours experience. Flight attendant nationalities included 4 from the UK, 3 from France, and 1 from Turkey. Accident. The aircraft left Orly Airport at 12:32 p.m. bound for Heathrow Airport. Just after the aircraft passed over the town of Knox, the rear left cargo door blew off, and a sudden difference in air pressure between the cargo area and the pressurized passenger cabin above it caused a section of the cabin floor above the open hatch to separate and be forcibly ejected through the open hatch, along with 6 occupied passenger seats attached to that floor section. When the door blew off, the primary as well as both sets of backup control cables that ran beneath the section of floor that blew out were completely severed, destroying the pilot's ability to control the plane's elevators, rudder, and number 2 engine. The loss of control of these key components resulted in the pilots losing control of the aircraft entirely. The aircraft almost immediately attained a 20-degree pitch down and began picking up speed. As the plane's speed increased, the additional lift raised the nose again. 77 seconds after the cargo door gave way, the plane crashed into the trees of Ermenonville forest. The wreckage was so fragmented that it was difficult to determine whether any parts of the aircraft were missing before it crashed. Post-crash fires were small because there were very few large pieces of the aircraft left intact to burn. Of the 346 passengers and crew on board, only 40 bodies were visually identifiable, with rescue teams recovering some 20,000 body fragments in all. Cause. The passenger doors on the DC-10 are inward opening plug doors, designed to prevent opening while the aircraft is pressurized. However, due to its large radius, a cargo hatch on the DC-10 could not open inside the fuselage without taking up valuable cargo space, so the hatch was designed to open outward, allowing cargo to be stored directly behind it. The outward opening design presents the risk of the hatch being blown open by the pressure inside the cargo area if the latch were to fail during flight. To prevent this from happening, the DC-10 uses a latching system whose main security principle is an over-center concept. 4 C-shaped latches mounted on a common torque shaft are rotated over latching pins or spools fixed to the aircraft's fuselage. The rotating movement of the torque shaft is brought about by an electric actuator through a linkage that includes a crankshaft that ensures the over-center position of the whole system. Due to the shape of the latches and the over-center design, When the latches are in the correct position, internal pressure on the hatch not only makes insufficient torque to open the hatch, but it also makes the whole system safer because the over-center safety principle is increased. The system has a hand crank provided as a backup. Here we can see the National Transportation Safety Board's (NTSB) investigation into Flight 96 determined that baggage handlers forced the locking handle closed, and the latches did not engage fully because of an electrical problem. The incident investigators discovered that the rod connecting the pins to the handle was weak enough that it could be bent with repeated operation and force, allowing the baggage handler to close the handle with his knee, even when the pins interfered with the torque tube flanges. The vent plug and cockpit light were operated by the handle or the locking pins, not the latches, so when the handle was stowed, both of these warning devices indicated that the door was properly closed. In the case of Flight 96, the plane was able to make a successful emergency landing because not all of the underflow cables were severed, thus allowing the pilots limited control. This greatly contrasted with Flight 981, where all of the underflow cables were severed in the decompression and the pilots completely lost control of the plane. Aftermath. McDonnell Douglas subsequently faced multiple lawsuits for the crash of Flight 981 by the families of the victims and others. In its defense during pre-trial proceedings, McDonnell Douglas attempted to blame the FAA for not issuing an airworthiness directive, Turkish Airlines for modification of the cargo door locking pins, and General Dynamics for an incorrect cargo door design. When it became clear that its defenses were unlikely to prevent a finding of liability, McDonnell Douglas and Turkish Airlines and other associated parties settled out of court for an estimated $100 million, including $80 million from McDonnell Douglas, of which $18 million was paid by its insurer, Lloyd's of London. After the crash of Flight 981, the latching system was completely redesigned to prevent them from moving into the wrong position. The locking system was mechanically upgraded to prevent the handle from being forced into the closed position without the pins actually being in place, and the vent door was altered to be operated by the pins, thereby indicating that the pins themselves, rather than the handle, were in the locked position. Additionally, the FAA ordered further changes to all aircraft with outward opening doors, including the DC-10, the Lockheed Il-1011, and the Boeing 747. These changes included requiring vents to be cut into the cabin floor to allow pressures to equalize in the event of a blown-out door, thus preventing a catastrophic collapse of the aircraft's cabin floor and other structures that could damage the control cables for the engine, rudder, and elevators. And this is a monument that they built for the crash victims in Ermenonville Forest. So it's time for credits. All of the pictures taken in this video have been taken from Google, and all of the information has been taken from Wikipedia. So, thank you for watching, everybody. Feel free to like and share the video, comment down below on how the video was, and please do subscribe for more content. So, that's it for today. I'll meet you next time. This is Namit, and keep watching Disaster Diaries. Have a good day and see you. Bye.